welcome to another edition of Horror and Coffee. My name is Victor, and you are
Ralph Perez.
Ralph Perez, and we're here to review horror films. And we just reviewed, our last film was the Texas Chainsaw 3D, which we thought was
Garbage. Moving on.
Alright. The next film in our agenda is The Evil Dead, the new version.
Yeah.
Of The Evil Dead.
Yeah. What do you think of that one, Vic?
I would like to know your opinion.
Well, here's the thing. If anybody saw the original classic, The Evil Dead, back in the early 80s, this one actually takes it to another place. It's quite a different reimagining of the original classic. It's basically a group of kids who go to a cabin in the woods, right? The whole classic, let's go to a cabin in the woods. And they're not there to hang out and have fun and party, like in other versions of different horror films. But they're there to help a friend, a girl who is struggling with a drug addiction. So they think that by taking her out here in the woods, in the middle of the woods, staying at this cabin with one of their friends being a nurse to make sure that she goes through her cold turkey phase, as best as she can, they figure they can, help her kick her habit. And as she is trying to do that, they start finding things in the basement of the cabin, things that nobody should like to find. Dead things hanging from the ceiling, animals. They find the Book of the Dead and a recording.
And then from there we already know what happens.
And from there we already know what happens, especially for those of you who've seen the original classic.
Exactly.
So in my view, that movie, it was pretty good. I liked it. It was a nice reimagining of the original classic. What I liked about it, it wasn't as... What can I say? I don't want to down the original classic because it's still a classic. But the original classic made me... there was a lot of claymation in that movie. If you remember.
But that was because of the time.
The time, yeah, I know.
I'm sure that if they had...
CGI the way they did in this one, it would have worked out better. But, it was good. Like, I felt like it was a stronger plot.
I feel differently.
Okay, why?
I think as it was coming close to release date, it was being built up too high by people saying that
it was hyped.
It was hyped a lot.
Okay.
And when I saw it, and I don't like to be going by people's views of, oh, it's great, it's fantastic, it's going to be good and all that stuff, because then you put it in your head that it is going to be good, and when you go there, you feel differently, that it's not the way it's supposed to be.
Right, I got you.
So anyway, I went to the theater, and I know it wasn't going to be like the original one, because obviously the original one is in a class by itself. But if you watch the original one today, which I did before I watched this one, of course it's outdated.
Yeah.
It's really outdated.
Yeah.
And the concept of taking the girl to the woods to get over a drug addiction
was creative. I like that.
But I wonder why they didn't take her out to more serenity type of thing. The woods, that area looks creepy. Why would you?
Why would you want to take a recovering drug addict to a creepy place with like tall woods and an ugly cabin?
That's kind of creepy. I mean, if she's going to try to get over it, why couldn't you take her to a view of the lake?
Dead animals hanging in the basement.
With the sun shining and, something like that. But no, they took her to a cabin way out in the woods with these tall trees that look so freaking creepy.
Yeah.
That
Camp Crystal Lake was prettier.
Exactly.
Fine, but I have to admit, I kind of like this one thing. The yellow car, the yellow Oldsmobile, Bruce Campbell's car from the original film.
That wasn't yellow.
It was like a creamy...
Because of the dirt all over it.
Right, but it was still the same car.
Right, it was the same
car. It was the same car from the original series, that the dirty car behind the cabin or by the side.
To the
I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. My father had that car when we were kids.
Yeah.
Same exact model car.
But that was pretty cool. But what can I tell you? The movie, as soon as they find the Book of the Dead, they start reading it, and so insanity ensues.
Right.
And then,
the demons come and start possessing.
And there's a lot of gore in the film.
Yeah, it's very gory. Which follows from the original film. There's a lot of blood and guts and spilling.
But here's the thing that I didn't like about the film.
Tell me.
Now, before I saw this film, I went on YouTube a lot to see clips of it. Now, I did not expect I'm sorry. I went to, some of them was on YouTube and some of them was on IGN. Now, I went and they showed full clips of scenes that when I went to the movies,
They didn't have it.
They had it, but I'm just saying I wasn't no longer surprised. They showed important clips.
So in other words, they showed. Some people do this. I hate it when they do this. They actually show movies that, to the point that by the time you get to actually see the film, nothing. So like you saw a lot of them in previews and commercials and sneak peeks and all that crap.
They should have not shown that at all.
Yeah.
So then when we saw it in the film, we go, holy crap. But we knew what was coming.
Yeah.
They showed, I'll tell you what, to be honest with you, 100% of the gore and all the exciting things that happened, they probably showed like maybe 70% of that already on the internet before I even saw the movie. And I was like, why? I'm not scared. I saw this on IGN.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah,
and that's I think why I didn't like the movie as much as I wanted to like.
You know, also this guy, there was one guy that survived, right? The guy with the glasses, the smart dude. Somebody survived.
The only person survived was the girl at the end.
That was it. Everybody else died. Okay.
And you know what? In the trailer, if you watch the trailer of the new Evil Dead movie, you see the guy with the chainsaw cutting something. You don't see actually what he's cutting. You see him gesturing like if he's cutting something, blood splattering on his face in the trailer, and that is not in the film.
No, it's not.
The only person that gets blood and using the chainsaw is the girl.
Right.
So when you see that part on the trailer with the guy with the chainsaw, you're already thinking he's playing the part
of Ash.
Because he has the blue shirt.
Right.
And he's using the chainsaw in the trailer for that 1-2 seconds, but that was never in the movie.
But you know what was cool though?
What?
The very end after the credits.
Oh yeah.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
At the end of the movie, Bruce Campbell comes out and he
says
groovy. Now, for people who never saw the originals,
they would have been like, "What's that about?"
Yeah.
You know, you got people before you see this film. May I implore you, watch the original. Watch the first two specifically.
The first two.
Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Awesome films. They were fun. I actually liked Evil 2 better.
Well, I went to a horror convention about 10 years ago, and I met the women who were in the original Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And they were great. They were really nice with me. That's the way actors or actresses should be towards their fans. Like, they totally really appreciate it, and the women of the Evil Dead really appreciated their fans. So when I went up to them, I really had a sense that Evil Dead 2 was a remake of Evil Dead 1, because it was just Ash and his girlfriend, and not Ash and the other girl.
Right. It seemed like they just kind of did almost like a remake.
It was like a remake.
Like, okay, let's forget that and let's do this. And it worked.
Right. But then I asked the women, and I asked the Evil Dead girls, if was this like kind of like a remake, and they had said yes. It was because Sam Raimi, the director of the first two movies, it was such a low budget that when he did the second one, he had a better budget.
Oh, yeah, a better budget.
So he did like just a little bit of the first one, but in a different way.
Oh, okay.
So
that's good. That's good. You see, you get explanations. Don't leave us hanging. You know?
The third one I do not like, Army of Darkness. I did not like of it. Cause
that was a complete showdown. That was a circus right there, man.
So
it was funny. It was comedy. It was comedic.
It went from like because the first movie of the Evil Dead, the original, was
supposed to be scary.
It is.
The second one was scary, but it was funny.
Funny, and then they went totally funny.
They went totally funny.
It's like scary, funny, totally funny.
Yeah, and then they got back to deep serious in this remake and stuff, which honestly I enjoyed. I would actually buy this and put it in my library. I actually would. I would watch it again.
You know the whole thing already. Why would you watch it again?
It's just cool to watch. The visualization of the possession and what happens to the girl and what happens to the people. It's kind of cool. You kind of want to see it. Like, oh, snap, look what happens.
At my age right now...
we're talking about life expectancy.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you right now, it'd be cool. It's okay, if I had that movie maybe like 20 years ago, I would have had it in my library because I could watch it over and not getting tired. But movies now, these days, that I could watch over and over, but that Evil Dead, that new version of Evil Dead does not have that type of impact on me. This movie is not a must-have. He thinks it's a must-have. I don't think it's a must-have. Must-haves are Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, Halloween, Dawn of the Dead. I could watch those over and over, maybe yearly, every year, like towards Halloween. I could watch them.
Yeah.
Those have a certain
permanency.
Yeah, and it's something in it that you don't get tired of.
They're timeless. They're timeless classics.
Even The Exorcist. I could watch The
Timeless
Exorcist
classic.
every year and not get tired of it.
Exactly.
It's just incredible. This movie is not one of them. It's good, but it doesn't have that thing where you're going to remember it and so forth.
Yeah, so as a result, our ratings are as follows. For me, I give this movie, maybe I'm being too generous, but I give it 3 coffee cups. Because I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the effects. I enjoyed... I didn't think they went over on the CGI too much. They did, but not. If they did, they were good at it because
there was a lot of prosthetic stuff in there.
There was prosthetic stuff in there, so they mixed it up a bit, which I liked.
But it more prosthetic than CG, which was good.
Yeah.
They only use CG on some instances that it probably would have needed it.
Right.
And prosthetic is stuff they use a lot,
which is pretty good, I must say. So. Hats off to them about that.
All right, my review is 2 coffee cups.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph liked it more than I did. It's just, I guess it was built up too much that I wasn't really surprised at it when I actually saw it. That was my biggest thing. Another thing about it is that, they don't even tell you the time period. They don't even mention about cell phones or what, so forth. Because I like to be mentioned. I know people are going to say to me, why with you into cell phones again? I'll tell you why. Because right now, in this time period, I want to have explanations for my horror film.
Otherwise, put the setting in an earlier time period.
Exactly.
But if they, or make it so that the cell phones are there, but explain it. That's our review of Evil Dead, the remake.
Yes.
I gave it 3 coffee cups.
2.
Vic gave it 2, and let us know how many coffee cups you give it here on the blog. Remember, www.horrorcoffee.blogspot.com or our YouTube site. Check us out, read the articles on the homepage, and we'll see you next time on Horror and Coffee. Stay tuned for our next review.